Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. We were out doing a tour, and I was the last sort of cookie, so to speak, to get there, and then second to the last one to get back. So thank you very much for your patience. We really appreciate it. Which one of you is going to call the roll?
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Marl.
Here.
Mayor McGriff.
Present. Would you all please rise if you can and join me in the flag salute, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think Greg would have a complete connection if I called him first, so I can have more time to sign these. I have a favor. So, Jedi Master Williams, would you be objectionable if I had you go first? Because I have to sign some certificates for the folks. See, this year I was supposed to walk into the Vader's theme, but that didn't happen. So tonight on our agenda we have a ceremony for If I Were Mayor, and we also have a proclamation because all of you know what's coming up on May the 4th, I'm assuming. So I will turn this over to Mr. Williams.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, members of the Galactic Commission. My name is Wing Commander Greg, and I am the X-Wing Squadron Leader who patrols Sector OC, the OC system, Sector 606. And I'm very glad to be with you tonight. I am here. I have two missions to complete tonight. So the first is I have been authorized by Admiral Akbar, General Skywalker, and Princess Leia herself to bestow upon the Galactic Commission the New Republic Medal of Valor. So you each have one at your desks. So this is in recognition of your stalwart support of the rebellion against the Empire, and your every year your willingness to support the Jedi Library that it sits at the heart of Sector 606. Now, I do have some more concerning news to report to you. So our long-range scans have detected an uptick in Imperial activity within the OC system, converging on Sector 606, the Jedi Library. Our telemetry suggests that the Imperial forces are going to arrive at the Jedi Library on Sunday, May 4th at 3 o'clock. So we need your assistance in making sure that every resident of the sector turns out to help us defend the Jedi Library against Imperial aggression and make this the best May the 4th be with you Star Wars Day ever seen in Oregon City. So with that, I will enlist your help, and thank you very much for your support.
All right, I will read the proclamation. So whereas a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the heroic Rebel Alliance won a great victory against the evil Galactic Empire, and whereas the Jedi Knights, once hunted to near extinction by the Sith, were able to restore balance to the Force and bring peace to the galaxy, and whereas the inhabitants of the OC system celebrate the recent rediscovery of the lost planet, I'm not sure how I pronounce this, Atimun, and welcome its inhabitants to the New Republic. And whereas the Jedi Library in Sector 606 of the OC system is preparing for their annual galactic celebration and welcomes visitors from all surrounding systems to attend, and whereas the Force is an energy field created by all living things, from the scruffiest nerf herder to the noblest grand moff, which surrounds us and binds us to the galaxy together. Now, therefore, I, Denise C. McGriff, Mayor of the OC system, raise my lightsaber, and I apologize I did not bring it, and do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2025 as Star Wars Day, and encourage all residents of the OC system to make the hyperspace jump to the Jedi Library in Sector 606 on May 4th at 3 p.m. to celebrate this momentous occasion. We are one with the Force, and the Force is with us. In witness thereof, I picked up some power converters from the Tachi station to set my hand this 16th day of April, 2025. So I will be at the library system on the 4th with my lightsaber.
Great. We will look forward to seeing all of you there. We welcome you there. And
I don't know if they have lightsabers, but I do.
You know, now that you bring it up, one of the things that we always do for the Jedi Library is we have some master saber craftsmen here in the OC system up at Saber Forge. We will be raffling off 2 Saber Forge lightsabers to all attendees at our May the 4th. We will also have some amazing Star
Awesome.
Wars Legos from the shipyards, the Alliance shipyard. So we encourage everybody to come in and join in the fun.
So for the audience, just so you know, we're an equal opportunity organization, and we will be celebrating Star Trek Day in September, so don't forget to come back. We've had some people approach me last year, so we had a Star Trek Day.
About Ghostbusters, just wondering.
Well, Ghostbusters doesn't have anything to do with the Galactic Empire. All right, so next on our agenda, we have our If I Were Mayor contest, and I'd like to call our staff up and the chair of our Youth Advisory Commission.
Good evening, Mayor McGriff and City Commissioners. My name's Hannah Schmidt. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist for the City of Oregon City, and it's my pleasure to be here tonight to be able to explain the If I Were Mayor contest. This is a contest that was held in conjunction and supported by the Oregon Mayors Association. Applications were open to 4th through 12th graders in 3 different categories. 4th and 5th graders submitted poster submissions. Middle school students submitted essay submissions, and high school students were encouraged to submit multimedia presentations. And this contest was really helped to encourage students to be able to get involved with what a local government looks like. Some of the Youth Advisory Commissioner, well, all of the Youth Advisory Commissioners judged the contest. The contest opened back in December of 2024, and it closed on March 30th. The Youth Advisory Commission judged the contest on March 31st, and I'm very excited to have Mayor McGriff and the chair of the Youth Advisory, Julian Guerra. I always mess that up. I'm so sorry, Julian. Guerra Molina, present the awards for, we have 3 first, second, and third place winners for the poster categories. First place is displayed over here, and I'll make sure to wait for the mayor to announce the names of the winners of the contest. And second place and third place displayed as well. Then we have a first place contestant winner for the essay and a first place contestant winner for the multimedia submission.
All right, I'm coming. So I might mention for the audience, so the City of Oregon City is a member of the Oregon Mayors Association. I represent us in that organization. This is our 2nd year of doing this. I went to my first Oregon Mayors Association conference about 2 years ago, and I saw this and I said, why are we not doing this? So we started and we outreach to almost all the schools. We did not unfortunately receive an invitation from every school, but I'm bound and determined to make it to every school for the next round so that they can participate as well. And we've had overwhelming participation from our friends at Candy Lane Elementary, and I'm just so proud of all of you. And last year, our winner of our poster contest, Brittany, placed 2nd statewide, so that was even more exciting. So our first place winners will be entered into the statewide contest, and I will be going to the Oregon Mayors Conference, and I know we're going to have another winner, so I'm very excited about that. So I'll be down just a second. I got to get my cheat sheets.
I also want to thank not only the contestant winners who are here tonight, but I know a lot of family and friends came out too. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and we're very excited to be able to hand out awards.
So she'll tell me which ones I need to do. Just want to make sure I have those. So it says, certificate, City of Oregon City, County of Clackamas, State of Oregon, Certificate of Achievement. The following award is given to, and then I'll read the person's name. On behalf of the city's Youth Advisory Commission, the City of Oregon City proudly presents a Certificate of Achievement to, this certificate recognizes the person as a poster entry winner in the local Oregon City If I Were Mayor contest. I'd like to call up Marion Wolf. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, first is over here, so let's go over here. So open up her folder, so we can take a picture with that. Okay. Are we ready?
And as the third place winner for the poster contest, Miriam has been awarded her certificate and also a $25 Visa gift card.
So Miriam, would you like to say anything about what inspired you to put the things on here that you did?
Well, for my fourth one, which is therapy for kids, I know that so many kids, and not only my school, but like everywhere, suffer from like anxiety, depression, other things like that. And I think it's probably really helpful to have someone that you can talk to. If it's just like a teacher at school or a therapist, or a friend, yeah.
Great.
I think it's important to have someone to talk to.
Thank you so much. Okay, next I would like to call up, shift these around. So I'd like to call up Paisley. Sorry, Paisley, you're not up yet. Sorry, you're coming. That's Francis. Okay. Sophie Crockett. This is Sophie's, and she says if I was mayor, they would have safe sidewalks, animal shelters, more murals, clean rivers. She's got here peace, community, and love. So we'll get you over here, and I'll stand over here.
And as the second place winner for the poster contest, Sophie is being awarded her certificate and also another $25 gift card, Visa gift card.
So, Sophie, what inspired you?
I think really just like our town and like what could really be like good, because I think Oregon City's pretty awesome.
It
But
could be more awesome. Okay, she says Oregon City's pretty awesome. It could be more awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Congratulations. All right. And now let's go over to our first place winner. Now it's Paisley's turn. Fran. Oh, Fran, okay. Oh, she did the essay, sorry. I signed all of these and then they are now all mixed up. All right, Francis. Ashley, come on up. So Francis is our first place winner in the poster contest. And just before we get the picture, so citizenship, reducing pollution, if I were mayor, citizenship, reducing pollution, community shelter, and kindness. So let's get our picture.
And as the first place winner in the poster contest, Frances will be receiving a $50 Visa gift card, and her submission has been submitted onto the state level where individuals can win from $200 to $500. First place at the state level, I believe, is $500, second place is $300, and then third place is $200. So we're hoping that Frances will be able to place at the state level as well.
What inspired you? So what inspired you to come up with these 4 items that you thought if you were the mayor, you would do that?
Kindness. I think that there should be more kindness in our city because it makes people happier.
Can't disagree with that. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing your poster at the OMA conference, and believe me, I'm going to do whatever I can to talk to the people who are on the judging committee and say, isn't this one great? Thank you. All right. So this is my essay. So this is the essay portion, and we don't have, we have, you said we have a QR code, or no, we have it's online, so if you could look it up.
Yeah, in the back, there's a QR code. We're able to physically display the posters. Essay and multimedia submissions are a little bit harder. So if you're interested in seeing the submissions, you can scan the QR code to be directed to the city's website where you can see all of the submissions.
All right, so I'd like to call up Paisley McWilliams, who placed first in the essay contest. So come on up.
And as the first place contest winner in the essay category for the If I Were Mayor contest, Paisley has received a $75 Visa gift card and will also be submitted, has been submitted to the state level.
Hold that and leave you the mic. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what inspired you on your essay? So hold it up.
Probably most of my topics was from seeing things around the community that I thought could make make Oregon City better, and turn it into paragraphs of what I thought personally.
Awesome. And so tell us, for the public, so you go to,
Tamata Middle School,
and you are?
a 7th grader.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I'd like to call up Justin Evers. Get to be in the middle. Oh, okay.
And as the first place contestant winner for the multimedia category, Justin's submission will go on to the state level. And Justin was our only submission for a multimedia entry this year. We're hoping to get more high school participation next year, but we had 57 submissions in total. 35 of those were essays, 31 was essays, 25 was posters, and then we had Justin's multimedia.
Oh, focus was off. All right, Justin, why don't you tell us about what inspired you to do the multimedia presentation?
I think that community is an incredibly important aspect of our lives, and it's incredibly important for the mayor to emphasize our community gatherings and our ability to be friends and be community and be good neighbors with each other, which, by the way, great job. May the 4th is a very fun community event. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. So speaking of community events, come by the snow cone booth and you can get a snow cone made by me. So, something I do every year.
Yeah, so this is our second year as the commission judging the If I Were a Mayor contest. I feel like it perfectly encapsulates what we're trying to do at the Youth Advisory Commission, right? Involving the youth with local politics is something that I think we should all strive to do. Local government, sorry. But yeah, it's a great experience. You know, I really enjoyed judging last year, and then this year was great too. So I want to say thank you to everyone who applied. You know, congratulations to those who've won. Our first place winner, you know, hopefully you do the best that you can. Oh, I want to mention too, we have 2 Youth Advisory Commission members in the back. We have Miles, who is our vice chair, right? Miles Kinney, and then we have Desi Hansen, who is an at-large member. So thank you to them for showing up and supporting their team.
So just in conclusion, I am just so proud of all the students who took the time to work on this project. It means a lot to all of us on the commission because we know that the sooner you get to know what's going on with your local government, the better citizen you will be in the future. And I will definitely take many of your suggestions to heart in terms of implementing things. I already am really big on community, so I can always improve on that. But we work together as a group, the 5 of us, and we want to bring community and make sure that everybody gets heard. And we really appreciate the youth participating in this. And it's just great that we have winners from Tumwata, Oregon City High School, and Candy Lane. So I'll look forward to going to your schools again to talk about this in the future. Thank you, everybody. Back to the agenda. All right, next on our agenda, we have a presentation, Youth Opioid Prevention Grant 2025 Program Update. Chief Davis, would you do the honors, please?
Mayor Commission, good evening. Yes, tonight we have Ann Hayes and Oregon City together here tonight to give an update on the progress and the current status of their grant, which was awarded for the 24-25 Youth Opioid Prevention Grant process. As you are aware that you guys awarded Oregon City together $20,000 on July 9th, 2024, so they're here to give an update. And I'll turn it over to Ann and everyone from Oregon City together.
Thank you. Now you can hear me, huh?
Yes, thank you.
Hi there, I'm Ann Haynes with Oregon City Together Coalition Director, and I have with me Robin Bergeron.
Hi, I'm Robin Bergeron.
And go ahead and tell her what you do.
I work with Ann, but I'm the Community Set Care Facilitator.
And we're actually going to update you on, oh, thank you. 2 grants, the Youth Opioid Grant, Prevention Grant, as well as the Metro Enhancement Grant. I figured I would just go ahead and tell you a little bit of an update on both of those. And we also have Brian Shaw over here to my left. Almost founding member of our organization. And also brought a bunch of good stuff we can talk about in just a few minutes. So thank you so much, Mayor McGriff and commissioners and staff, for allowing us this opportunity to just do a little bit of an update and really just say thank you for your support of youth prevention in the city. I was very interested to see that one of the submissions for the mayor's contest included some information about addiction, and so it's certainly something we strive to prevent, right? Get in that upstream prevention so that we avoid that altogether. So we really are appreciative of your generous grants for both of these programs. And I better put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. So the 2 grants again are the Youth Opioid and the Metro Enhancement Grant. The Youth Opioid Prevention Grant is, do I just press this here? Ah, look at that. Is the one that we use for a youth mental health campaign, and then the Metro Enhancement Grant is the one that we use for the fentanyl and other drugs prevention awareness campaign. So on the youth mental health campaign, I've laid out some of our campaign elements here, but that program consists of a peer-led prevention awareness campaign, youth mental health campaign. And we started by using Nigel Wrangham, who's a national youth training leader, to work with students. We started out at Oxla, which was our original plan, and we had a little bit of a hiccup there with attendance, so we pivoted and we started working with the AP Psych students at OCHS. And so Nigel did 5 sessions with 42 students, And he led them through prevention education, risk and protective factor education, individual and universal strategies for creating messaging around youth mental health. And as they went through this process, they decided on a couple of campaign messages that they felt would be good for themselves and for their peers. And then they narrowed it down to one, which is what we've got some of our campaign materials for today. And by the way, I put one of these in the bathroom to replace last year's poster. But this year's message from them is resilience isn't born, it's built. And so they wanted to go with a little bit of a construction theme. And so it shows different building blocks for resilience: flexibility, confidence, problem solving, self-awareness, social connection, coping skills, and so forth. And so I'm going to show you their campaign materials on the next slide. But we also, as a part of this program, we trained 2 school counselors on the evidence-based Blues program. This is similar to what we did last year with this grant, and this is truly an evidence-based prevention program. It identifies kids that are teenagers, 14 to 18, who are struggling with anxiety or stress or depression, and it gets them into a six-week group process where they can learn coping strategies and hopefully prevent them from moving forward and needing a higher level of care. So we trained 2 counselors in that, and they did implement the program at Oxla. And so now that they're trained, they can continue to carry this on no matter what, because the materials are free to go forward. So they are equipped to move forward with that program. And then of course, we did a pre-survey. We'll do a post-survey so that we can measure our outcomes as far as our goals. And then the student health survey is also something that we will look at once we get those results, probably in June, to make sure that we met our grant project goals. And so let's move to the next page. I'll show you a little bit of the campaign materials. The kids wanted to create the posters that will go into all of the schools. I just picked these up yesterday, so I'm going to be delivering those out to schools. We're doing some social media campaigns. They decided they wanted some of those little squishy stress balls, but they're shaped like bricks since we went with a building theme. The bracelets here, which has their slogan on it. We also have a billboard that is on there, right there, and it's at 99E and 12th. And then we also bought a sponsorship brick at Elevate Plaza with their campaign slogan on it. They were very excited about being able to do that. And then another project that's going to be coming up is we're getting a big banner and inviting kids to come write down what they think about resilience and what helps them to be resilient. So and then we also do have some upcoming events. I brought some flyers for that's related to the Youth Mental Health Campaign, and that is in collaboration with the Children's Center and their Child Abuse Prevention Month and Alliance Charter Academy. We will be there on April 24th hosting Angst, the film, the documentary about anxiety, along with a workshop by Dr. Crystal Collier, where she'll be giving parents and kids actionable tools for helping relieve stress and anxiety. So we'll be doing that on April 24th, and we'd love to have you guys join us for that also. And then we're also going to carry the mental health theme through to 2 events, one at Tumwata and one at Gardner in May. It's an event for incoming 6th graders and outgoing 8th graders. So the kids who are making transitions to different types of schools and, bigger schools and new friends and all of that, which we know that's a time of higher stress. So we will be there as a tabling resource, but we'll also be doing a workshop for parents and kids. Same message is about building resilience and what they can do for skills and support for that. We also did the locking pill bottles with a QR code to resources so that, especially since this is a youth opioid campaign, we want to make sure that people lock up their medication so that it's not easy to get into. Okay, moving right along, we're going to talk about the fentanyl campaign, which is our Metro Enhancement Grant, and we're excited that we heard we can actually apply for that again this year. So it also includes a youth-led awareness campaign. We had students from CASE, OXLA, and OCHS research and prepare a campaign or awareness information on vaping and fentanyl. And you can see those things on the website. OCSD has a website page for it called Know the Risk. They decided to stick with that campaign slogan from last year. And they really took it upon themselves to elaborate and include vaping this time because it really is something they feel really affects them and their peers. So I was really pleased with that because we did want to try to cover other drugs along with fentanyl for this particular campaign. We started this campaign back in the fall when we did the Halloween poster contest, which I think I've already done a little presentation on that for you guys. When that happened, we had 155 entries for that, and 15 were enlarged and posted in downtown businesses. And with this particular campaign, what we want to, and then, oh gosh, I'm forgetting one of the main things, is the forum for the community, which will take place right here on May the 6th. We will have representatives from law enforcement. Thank you for your partnership, law enforcement, for this program and the other program. And we'll have Michelle Stroh will be telling Keaton's story. We'll have public health folks here. And we'll also have out front, we're going to have a hidden in plain sight mock teen bedroom set up so that parents can learn how paraphernalia is hidden in bedrooms, because it is. And so it'll be a very informative thing for parents. So we'll have that on May the 6th. So we'd love to have you guys for that also. And the main reason for this grant is to make sure parents and kids know about the dangers and impact of fentanyl and other drugs, and that they actually talk to their kids about it. So those are our goals. And luckily, we did our parent survey, and we have found that we have increased those numbers quite significantly in the last year, and actually since we started the program 4 years ago. So thank you for your partnership for that. And this is just a sampling of, and there's click-throughs here, so I won't do those because I don't think I would even know how if I needed to. But the one on the top, if you click that, it takes you to the video that we produced. So we're also having doing school assemblies at the 2 middle schools, and then the high schools opted to take a video resource from us, and then they're delivering that to every student during advisory period. So that's what that is on the top left. And then the other two, if you click through to that, you'll get to the school's website where these research slide deck is hosted that the kids did on the campaign. And we'll also do social media ads for this campaign, and we also have a billboard, which I forgot to put on the thing, but here it is right here. It's at Malala and May, by the way. Really shows up really well, so I wanted to bring that for everybody to see. And then I know that this is actually just a graphic that I just wanted to say thank you again about helping us to get upstream, because I know that it's one thing to reduce harm or to help people get into treatment, but if we can actually prevent that, keep them from falling in the stream before that, it really helps the community, saves everybody money and time and heartache, honestly. So thank you for your efforts there. And so I'm going to turn this over for about a minute or two to Robin. And that's all I have, but we'd love to take questions if you have any. But as you know, we were granted a substantial grant from SAMHSA, the Strategic Prevention Framework Grant, back in October. It's pretty tenuous at the moment. We are moving forward with it as if we have it, because we haven't been told anything other than that. I mean, we've been sent a couple of court orders, but it seems to be going forward at this point. But you know, we're not 100% sure about that. So as part of that grant, we hired Robin. She's our Communities That Care facilitator, and that grant specifically for the first couple of years will be it's a joint process with Oregon City and Gladstone school districts to do a new community assessment and really find out where the youth of the community are, what they're struggling with, what they need help with, what resources are already out there, what resources aren't there, where are the gaps. And then we'll take the grant after that and start implementing evidence-based programs. So we've been talking about Communities That Care for a while, but now we're really getting into it and starting the process. So I wanted Robin to tell you a little bit about that.
Hi, again, I'm Robin Bergeron. So, okay, sorry.
Can I get back to this?
Communities That Care, I know that she touched on a lot of what we're doing, but right now we are in the very first phase. There's a few different phases. This one is really, really important. And why I'm here with you guys is to hope to enlist some of you in to be a key leader with our group. Yes, I already know, I'm meeting with Scott soon. So why we are looking for key leaders is the very first phase is to get key leaders from the community who have influence over getting people involved in this effort, because it's really a community effort. This isn't just like all on me, thank goodness. Communities That Care is proven, it's data-driven. It is a long process, and it's really a neat process for me to go through, because there's steps, there's milestones and benchmarks that we need to meet in order to move the process along. So I brought some cards for you guys. Hopefully you will take them and consider joining our effort. If you know people who might want to, pass this information along. There's a QR code on the back. There's also my information. And I hope to hear from you guys.
Do we have time for a minute?
So Robin, if you want to give those to Jacob, he will give those to us.
All right. We have a short video, but if you guys want to just watch that on your own time, it talks more about key leaders, or do you have a minute and a half for it?
Well, we have a public hearing tonight.
I figured you had a lot on the agenda,
There's a lot of people here that want something.
Yeah, so the square on the right is a video. If you click through, it'll give you a lot more information on key leaders, just so you'll have more information and, you know, make a decision from there, so.
Does Mr. Brian Shaw want to say anything?
Yeah. Yeah, probably a lot.
So, introduce yourself again.
Sir, if you could please turn the mic on.
It's green. There you go. Yes.
One more time. Turn it on. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's been a while since I've been here, so Brian Shaw, Oregon City. I just wanted to thank Chief Davis and Tony Conkle for coming up with this opioid grant program for us. As you know, I spent probably the last 10 years trying to get funding from the dispensaries for our organization. I thought that would be a great thing to have prevention monies coming out of those dispensaries, but we never could get there. And these two came up here, has it been a year since we've had that, 2 years that we had the grant, and they came up with, well, let's use the opioid monies for that, which was great, you know, but now I understand due to budgetary concerns and stuff, that money has had to be used elsewhere. But I wanted to thank, first of all, those two, because people don't realize in the background what goes on here and there's got to be a little recognition there. So I know that even Commissioner Mitchell and Commissioner Morrow back in the day were assisting us and giving us some feedback and stuff on how to approach this. So, but I do want to thank you guys for prevention doesn't go away. We're still here, you know. So if there's some kind of monies that become available, Tony, we would sure be happy to have that conversation again. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yes, Commissioner Morrow and I sat on the review committee along with department staff in reviewing the applications, and we appreciate your efforts. So thank you very much for coming in and giving us an update. And I want to call on our neighbor, Mr. Ken Basinger, under public comments. So thank you for allowing me to switch things around a little bit. And while you're coming up, Ken, give me a minute. So Rob, you signed up for 4 and 3, but I also see you're on the big list. So item number 4 is for items that are not currently on the agenda. So Rob, if you have something that's not on the agenda, you're more than welcome to come up to speak, but I think you want to be under number 8. Am I correct? Rob's raising his, thank you, Rob. Okay. Thank you, Ken.
I'm Ken Basinger of Oregon City. I want to thank all you folks behind me for coming to hear what I have to say.
We brought them here especially for you.
I sent this letter to the commissioners a couple of days ago. I hope you've had a chance to read it. Regarding a growing homeless camp on the bank of the Willamette River adjacent to Willamette Falls. It's been there for about 3 years, and the lack of code enforcement there is turning it into a magnet. There are now mountains, truckloads of debris in piles along the riverbank. An organic material that's decomposing. It is a stinking, rotting mess. Why there is no enforcement, I've talked with Chief Davis and with the other police officers who've responded out there. The issue seems to focus on ownership of the property where the camp is located. I urge you to take a trip to the assessor's office and look at the plat maps, as I have done, because that camp is on property formerly part of the paper mill and now owned by the Confederated Tribes. And their cooperation is going to be needed regardless who actually puts in the manpower to clean this mess up. But it has to go. It has to go. It's unsanitary, unsightly, and illegal. And if there's anything I can say about it that'll motivate action, please ask. Do any of the commissioners have any questions about that?
We don't.
Okay.
Obviously, staff is aware of it, and I don't know whether the Grand Ron have been contacted regarding this, but do you know, Chief Davis?
I don't know if the tribe has been contacted. I know we've been working closely lately with the railroad police regarding the
Grand Ron police?
The railroad police.
The railroad police.
Yeah. So I know there's several different things that they're working on their property
But
the last couple of days.
no contact with the Grand Ron?
On this one, I'm not sure that we've contacted the tribe. I know we've been talking to the railroad police about it. So I'll get back to you.
Okay, well, we're going to turn this over to staff. So thank you very much, Ken. All right. So anybody else in the audience that would like to have comment under public comments for an item that is not currently on the agenda? Just want to give one more opportunity. So, okay, all right. Thank you so much. We have the item number 7, which is the consent agenda. We have a personal services agreement with Andres Landscape LLC for Public Works Street Division Landscaping Maintenance Services.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Wilson.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Marl.
Whoever.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Mayor McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, under, tonight on item number 8, we have one public hearing, and it is an appeal of a proposed 29 lots townhome subdivision located at 19918 White Lane. The application is appeal number 25-01, GULA 24-00033, subdivision 24-00002. So before I open the public hearing, I would like our city attorney to give some instruction. And the reason I'm asking that is that I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in this room have not probably attended a public hearing, particularly if it's an appeal or a land use application. So we want to make sure that you clearly understand what the parameters we have to operate under an appeals. If you just raise your hand if you've not ever testified at a public hearing before. Okay, so we will go over the regulations and the rules that we also have to follow. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you. A public hearing to consider a land use appeal is scheduled tonight. A staff report has been prepared and has been made available to the public 7 days before tonight's hearing. The staff report identifies the approval criteria that apply to each applicant's proposal. Staff has analyzed the criteria along with the appeal documents, written comments, and input received through the public notification process. The quasi-judicial hearing procedure that the commission will follow is set out in state law and the Oregon City Municipal Code. The hearing procedure steps are shown on that chart. As an appeal hearing, individuals who will be allowed to testify are those who submitted testimony during staff review of the proceeding below. So that means anyone who submitted comments during the comment period will be allowed to testify. Anyone who did submit written testimony who wishes to speak in this appeal should fill out a speaker's card and give it to the city recorders sitting at the front of the room. Speakers will proceed in the order in which their card is received. For the public record, please begin all testimony stating your name and whether you reside or have a business within the city. Testimony and evidence should be directed toward the issues raised in the notice of appeal and is limited to the evidence presented below during the comment period. No new evidence shall be considered on appeal. If you believe other criteria apply in addition to those addressed in the staff report, you must identify and discuss those criteria and explain why you believe they apply to the application under consideration. Any party who submitted written materials during the proceeding below may submit written materials as part of this review. That does not include new evidence while the public record is open. Any qualifying written materials made to city staff during the time period which the record is open will be placed in the record. Written materials submitted during the public hearing must be presented to city staff with a request that they be presented to the city commission in order to become part of the record. This includes PowerPoint presentations, oversized poster boards, reports, pictures, or other exhibits used in oral testimony. If the city commission makes a decision with which you disagree, any issue that you wish to appeal must have been raised for the commission's consideration. Without raising the issue on the record with sufficient specificity and accompanied by statements or evidence that the city and all parties can respond, the issue will not be adjudged appealable to the State Land Use Board of Appeals. In addition, state law requires us to announce that the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the local government or its designee to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Now we will open the public hearing for GLUA 24-00033. SUB 24-0002. I think the mayor already opened it, but I'm just reiterating, sorry.
I'll do it in a minute.
Okay. Before I pass it back to you, I wanted to ask about conflicts of interest. Do you want me to go ahead and do that?
Yes, so we'll go down the line.
Okay, this quasi-judicial review means that the parties have a right to a decision where the decision makers are unbiased, have no conflicts of interest, and are free of any ex parte contacts or other evidence that was obtained outside the public hearing, such as a site visit. As a result, I'm going to call on you and to disclose any conflict of interest, bias, ex parte contacts, or visits to the site. Commissioner Smith?
None. I haven't visited the site or talked to anyone about it.
Commissioner Wilson? Commissioner Morrow?
Nope.
Commissioner Mitchell?
None, and I did not visit the site.
Mayor McGriff?
I'm familiar with the site. I did visit it a few weeks ago, and I spoke with a resident of an adjacent street regarding the process that we would be using to review the appeal.
Does any person in the audience wish to question any of the commissioners regarding these disclosures? Seeing none.
Okay, so
Send it back to you.
Okay, so I will open the public hearing and call on the staff to give the staff report. Thank you, Ms. Hurd-Ravage and Mr. Walter.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Aquila Hurd-Ravage, the Community Development Director, and Pete Walter, the Planning Manager, and he's going to give the presentation for tonight, and then we'll follow the agenda. Thank you.
One second.
As they say, one moment, please. While you're doing that, we have a number of people here tonight who are very interested in telling us what they have to say, and we're very eager to listen. We have about 40-some people here, so we will keep to the strict 3-minute timeline, and there is a point to it, Mr. Wiley? No, the timer. So you should be able to see that if you're at the table, and I will call people up 2 at a time. If you're a couple and you want to come up together, please, that's okay. That way you know. We want to make sure we hear everyone. It's very important to us that we have the opportunity to hear all of you and what you have to say. It's very important, and we appreciate the fact that you are here tonight because it just tells us that you care about your community. So staff?
Thank you, Mayor McGriff, and good evening, Commissioners. My name is Pete Walter, and I'm the Planning Manager. I also reviewed the subdivision application with the assistance of our Assistant Planner, Melissa Lopez. And this purpose of tonight's meeting is to conduct a public hearing to review an appeal, file number AP 2502. And that is an appeal of the Community Development Director's approval with conditions of a 29-lot subdivision application. Ms. Richter has already outlined the procedure of the public hearing. This evening, the appellant is Mr. Chris Minich, and in response to the public notice that was sent out for the subdivision, Mr. Minich submitted a letter detailing his concerns on February the 3rd, 2025, and he has standing to appeal the decision. This notice of decision was issued March 7th, 2025, and Mr. Minich filed his appeal on March 17, 2025, and I will summarize and provide a response to the appeal issues that he outlined in his memorandum, in his letter. Sorry. Just want to first outline some of the limitations on the City Commission's review. This appeal is on the record, meaning no new evidence may be introduced during the proceeding. Only evidence submitted in the application or during the open comment period may be considered. Participants identifying evidence on appeal should be prepared to identify where this fact was presented. And staff will be prepared to assist the City Commission to ensure that no new facts are considered. There are two main limitations: no new evidence may be submitted, and two, only those issues identified in the appeal may be discussed. The City Commission's options, which I will outline at the end of my presentation, are: one, to deny the appeal and affirm the Community Development Director's decision, or to deny the appeal and affirm the Community Development Director's decision approving the applications with conditions modified by the City Commission. And if the Commission identifies an approval criterion that is not satisfied and is inclined to uphold the appeal, it must continue the proceedings to allow the applicant an opportunity to either modify the proposal or recommend conditions of approval that would allow the application to be approved. A little background on the site. This is a site south of Central Point Road. It is 4.14 acres, and it is located in the southwestern portion of Oregon City, directly adjacent to the city's city limit and urban growth boundary. Approximately 1.2 acres of the site are encumbered by a power line easement, which I'll show you on the preliminary plat slide. Adjacent zoning and land use. This is one of the last parcels to be developed in this corner of the city. It is zoned R10 and is surrounded by R8 zone subdivisions, most of which were developed between 2013 and 2018, with the exception of the oldest, which is Payson Farms, directly to the northwest, which is a planned unit development from 1998. Preliminary plat is illustrated here. The applicant is proposing a 29-lot townhome subdivision, which will include tree removal, the extension of the existing street network, and a stormwater facility. The application involves a subdivision that would comprise of 1 detached single-family residence, 11 two-unit townhomes, 22 units, and 2 3-unit townhomes for 6 units, and includes, as I mentioned, extension of city streets, including water, sanitary, sewer, and stormwater facilities. Extension of the street network is planned through the completion of White Lane, Orchard Grove Drive, and Payson Lane through the project site. The extent of the 1.2 acres of the site that is encumbered by the power line easement is indicated on the plat, the diagonal lines shown there. As far as the appeal issues raised, the first item raised by Mr. Minich was in reference to City Code Section 1750-030, which is the administrative section of the City Code and a summary of the city's decision-making process. The appellant has stated that it is implied in this section of code that public comment will be taken seriously. The city did not take into account the comments or ask the developer to change the design meaningfully. In response to that, there is no identification of any particular process that was not followed in this case. And the land use process is still unfolding. There has not been a decision issued at this point. In the appeal, the applicant detailed the following topics of concern: townhouses and the density of those townhouses, schools and traffic, road design, and parking, both on-street and off-street. And I will briefly go through those issues. With respect to the applicant's first concern, which is the development of townhouses and the overall density. They stated that the entire neighborhood is currently single-family freestanding homes. To introduce townhouses into the neighborhood at this point would simply bring more traffic and create a density that is not consistent with the current neighborhood. These should be built as single-family homes consistent with the neighborhood. The developer is simply trying to make more money by jamming more density into the neighborhood. In response, townhouse or townhome is defined in the code as a dwelling unit that is part of a row of 2 or more attached dwelling unit, where each unit is located on an individual lot and shares at least one common wall with an adjacent dwelling unit. They are a permitted use in the R10 zone as of the passage of the Housing Choices Code Amendments pursuant to Ordinance number 221001. Townhomes are a single-family attached product, not multifamily. Multifamily means 5 or more units on one lot. Townhomes are not duplexes or triplexes, which means 3 or 4 units on one lot. The proposed density of the development is 12.4 dwelling units per acre, which complies with the minimum and maximum density permitted by the R10 zone. The minimum permitted in that zone is 3.5 dwelling units per acre, and the maximum density permitted under state law is 17.4 dwelling units per acre for townhomes. The second group of concerns raised relates to schools and traffic. The appellant made the following statement, that the justification around traffic in schools does not match the reality of what we will experience. I have 3 students in the Oregon City School District, and there's no plan to accommodate more students at John McLaughlin Elementary. Building houses in those lots would be a way to increase the amount of housing in Oregon City and give the school district time to adjust their plans. Adding so many units with more students on average will only put further challenge in our community. In response, there is no adopted approval criteria requiring any consideration of school capacity. We do provide public notice to the school district of the proposal, and they did not provide any comments indicating an issue. The school district does its own capital planning and has enrollment forecast models that consider population growth, migration, and other factors. The school district forecasts are conducted by the PSU Population Research Center. The applicant also provided a detailed response to some of the concerns about school capacity during the public comment period. And responding to these comments, they added an analysis of the 2024 to 25 to 2033 to 44 enrollment forecast for the school district. The assessment indicated that any increase in student population could be accommodated in the school district due to falling enrollment rates. And even if the development proposed single-family detached dwellings at a rate of 0.42 students per unit, at 29 units, a total of 12.818 additional students might result from the development, well below the number of student enrollment lost over the last 5 years. Related to that was the concern about traffic counts. The appellant stated that the traffic study is laughable. The number of trips from 29 units is way underestimated. Simply assuming the traffic that would be heading to schools each day already tops the number of trips that they assume in the study. Not sure where they gathered that data, but it is not consistent with what we already see in our neighborhood in the mornings. I think the amount of traffic will be much higher, and a solution for that would be single-family detached homes. So DKS, the city's traffic engineer, reviewed the submitted traffic study, which was prepared according to the city's adopted transportation analysis guidelines. And they found it an adequate basis to assess the impacts of the proposed development. The trip generations in that analysis show that the proposed development will generate a net increase of 13 trips during the morning peak hour, 15 trips during the evening peak hour, and 194 daily trips. Per the trip generation, townhomes generally generate slightly less traffic than single-family detached homes. City has also included this land in our transportation system plan and planned for a transportation system to include local roads at locations and sizes necessary to serve the density projected for the designated zone district and to create a connected residential block system. The proposed densities within the range prescribed by the R10 zone and surrounding roads have been sized to accommodate new traffic when it occurs as specified in the TSP and in Oregon City Municipal Code 1612, which is our public improvements requirements. The next issue raised by the appellant was with respect to the road design and extensions. They stated there's no reason to attach Wheeler Farm Road to White Lane. The road already dead ends at the end of Wheeler Farm, and there would be no reason for anyone from the new development to go down Wheeler Farm Road. As part of the extension of White and Payson Lanes, that will be the primary exit point for all of these cars. I believe that Wheeler Farm Road should continue to dead end and not connect to White Lane. The city has adopted clear and objective minimum street design standards as set forth in the City Code 1612-015, and the applicant's proposal was found to meet the standards. A key requirement of these standards is connectivity, which means that developments shall connect to existing streets and continue those streets through the development where it is practicable to do so. Subsection 030 of 1612 states that the maximum block spacing between streets is 530 feet, and the minimum block spacing between streets is 150 feet, measured between the center lines. The development has provided that street system in compliance with those block length standards, without which it would not be possible to connect to Wheeler Farm Road.
Is there a map that shows that? Where
Yes.
that's going to connect? Or proposed to be, proposed to be connected?
Yes, the plat shows the existing street stubs at Payson Lane and White Lane and Wheeler Farm and Orchard Grove Drive.
Oh, okay, it's under the green thing that says you're a screen sharing, okay.
Yeah.
And so where does Wheeler Farm Road go?
Let's see.
I mean, when I drove over there, it didn't go anywhere, so.
Are you able to see Wheeler Farm at the kind of bottom of the screen there? Okay.
No, I don't see it. Okay, all right. Well, the closed captioning was on top of it, sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think I got oriented there. Yeah, the aerial was helpful.
Okay. Next item raised was off-street parking. There were several comments with respect to parking this particular comment stated, I can't tell from the design, but many townhouses use street parking. The number of cars that are associated with this type of high-density housing will be very different from the rest of the neighborhood. A way to solve for this is with single-family detached homes. This will create driveways as part of the build and allow for more parking. If they stay as townhomes, we will end up with way more traffic than anticipated in this traffic study. So the city does not require minimum parking for any single-family development, including townhomes. But the development will provide a minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces, one in the garage and one in the driveway, which will be 20 feet deep. Parking is also going to be available on both sides of all of the public streets, which are 53-foot right-of-ways with 32 foot of pavement. which accommodates parking on both sides. And the streets will extend underneath the power line where there are no homes, so there will be some available overflow on-street parking there. Although parking is not an approval criterion for a residential land division.
Is BPA going to allow for that to be under the power lines? I thought it pretty much had to stay unimproved.
I don't think they're proposing any improvement under the
Well, a
power
road
lines.
is, or parking underneath it is some sort of an improvement if it's going to be a road.
Yeah, well, the stormwater tract and the road will be underneath the power line, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was not caught up on my slides there. But in conclusion, after review, staff found the application can meet all of the requirements described in the municipal code by complying with the conditions of approval that are attached to the decision. Approval of a land division shall be granted only upon determination by the city that all applicable requirements of this title, ORS Chapter 92, the applicable zoning designation, any applicable overlay districts, and Oregon City Municipal Code Chapters 1208, 1312, 1548, 1612, 1741, and 1750 of the Municipal Code are met or can be met with conditions of approval. So I just want to reiterate the City Commission's options. I also want to state that the application was submitted on December the 2nd, 2024, deemed complete on January the 7th, 2025. The notice of decision was issued on March 7, 2025, and the 120-day deadline to resolve all appeals, including mailing of the final decision, must occur before May 7th, 2025. If the City Commission cannot reach a final decision tonight, including the adoption of findings, a special meeting must be scheduled unless the applicant is willing to extend the 120-day deadline. And this time frame conforms to the requirements of OCMC 1750-070 and Oregon Revised Statutes 227-178. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Gentlemen, do you have any questions of staff? Okay. Well, we'll let the hearing proceed. We may have some later. So we will, here, get that out of the way. Ask for the, so we have the appellant and the,
It's the applicant
yes.
will give their presentation.
Yes. Okay. All right, are you all ready? Okay, come on up. And you know the drill.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Commissioners and Mayor. I'm Glenn Sutherland. I'm a land use consultant with AKS Engineering and Forestry, working with Ryan Park Development on this application. I think we're getting that pulled
And
up
the
right
timer's
now.
going, Jacob.
Probably going to breeze through a lot of this because we do agree with staff. We agree with the staff report. We think our application meets all of the applicable criteria and hope that you'll choose option 1 on that list of options there.
Does that closed captioning stuff have to be on the screen? It's kind of distracting.
So I'm joined tonight by Nathan McCarty, the project manager and engineer for the project. Online with us is Todd Mobley. He's our transportation engineer. And in the audience here is Andrew Stamp, the land use attorney for this project. There we go. And I'll speed through this because Pete did a great job explaining where this was and kind of the settings surrounding this property here. The last one in that little corner of the UGB. Thank you. And this is one of the plan sheets I colored to make things a little bit clearer. These are the 29 lots broken into purple, which is the 2-unit townhomes, the 2 3-unit townhomes, which are those yellow ones, and the 1 detached home, which is green. As you can see, they're not long stretches of townhomes. Code allows up to 6 consecutive homes to be shared, to share walls. And these are only 3 at the most. Those are permitted in this zone. The maximum net density is 17.4 dwelling units an acre. And you heard Pete say that this was 12.9 dwelling units an acre. And that's because the definition for net density doesn't include that power line area. So that easement isn't included in that. When you do include that area, it's only about 7 dwelling units an acre, which is only slightly more than Wheeler Farms, which is around 5 and 6 units an acre. And again, the smallest lot size is about 2,400 square feet. The minimum lot size for townhomes is about 1,500 square feet. I'll probably breeze through this and let Todd take anything that he wants to add to this topic of traffic. You there, Todd?
Yep, here I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Todd, we can.
Great. Well, good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. Sorry I'm not able to attend in person tonight, but I'm glad I could join virtually here. I did want to talk just a little bit about traffic and some of the issues raised on appeal. First of all, trip generators. So I guess to back up a little bit, my firm conducted the traffic impact study that was dated February 27th, as well as a follow-up memo. I'm sorry, the traffic study is dated November 27th, and we had a follow-up memo dated February 27th to address some of the public comments. So I'll start with trip generation. The study did use trip rates for single-family attached housing. We know from extensive data that's available that that type of housing does generate fewer trips than detached single family. There's exceptions to this, of course, but on average, we know that type of housing does generate fewer trips, as Pete Walter mentioned it earlier in the staff report. So Oregon City's code dictates intersection operation. Code 1612 033C2 talks about the mobility standards. These are intersection performance standards. It says in this part of the city, intersections have to operate during the peak hours at level service E or better. Our traffic impact study shows the 2 study intersections will operate at level service B and C during the peak hours. And also at level service A at White Lane and Central Point Road. So we're well within the level of service standards that are established by the code. And that code section is kind of how the city establishes mobility. There isn't mention in the city's code about daily traffic volumes on residential streets, which I understand is also a concern. All those code details and how you calculate a level of service at an intersection, all that's pretty esoteric. So I think what makes a lot more sense to a lot more people is just how many cars drive by your house every day. So I think that's why we commonly see concerns just about daily traffic volumes like we do in this case. General guidelines for local residential streets like we have in this neighborhood, it's like 1,000 to 1,200 vehicles per day commonly. Again, that's not in the code. That's just kind of a common guideline as an upper threshold for local residential streets. As we showed in our materials, we expect the daily traffic volume on White Lane with the project in place would be 510 vehicles per day. So we're well within kind of those guidelines of what we'd expect a residential street to carry in terms of traffic volume. And lastly, just with some discussion about the sensitivity of those numbers, I know the appellant feels like the trip generation is underestimated. Even if we doubled the trip generation, which we know would be much higher than it actually will be, the level of service at those intersections would be unchanged, and we'd still be well below the 1,000 vehicles per day on White Lane. So we're actually well below those guidelines and the codified performance standards in the code. So I just wanted to kind of share that to just show, even if we drastically increase the traffic, we'd still would be well within those standards.
Great, thank you, Todd. So I'll move on to the next topic, which was parking. As Pete mentioned, there is no parking requirement for this type of housing in municipal code. We do plan on providing 2 spaces per home. And then as submitted in our memo that was, I forget the date, but submitted during the public comment period, there's about 101 spaces. So we actually went through and measured the available curb space, taking into account driveways and hydrants and pedestrian crossings and things like that. So there would be space for about 3.5 cars per home, just between off-street and on-street parking. And school capacity, that's not an approval criterion, but we did reach out to the school district and were able to get the memo from Flow Analytics that the school uses to do their capital planning. And over the last 5 years, their enrollment has gone down significantly. So actually the number of average students per attached home, you get about 0.16. So 16% of homes have a student in them. For a detached home that's higher, that's 42%, so 0.42. So if we take that, and this is based on historic data from Oregon City. So that was obtained between 2013 and 2022. So this subdivision at those rates would be expected to have about 5 students, which is well within the margins of just the number of enrollment decline that's happened in the past few years. But again, that's not a approval standard, but just to show that we have done our homework on that particular issue. So I will take the rest of this time, hopefully reserve that for rebuttal, but we hope that you'll deny that appeal and affirm the Community Development Director's decision. And I'll take any questions if you have them.
Gentlemen, any questions? I had one for Todd. He mentioned that the townhomes, and again, we're not approving, or this is not about a town, but anyway, so I was curious, the statement he says it generates fewer trips. How is that? If you've got 3 units in a system and you've got, I don't know how many square feet there, but let's say at a minimum, you've got 2 people in each one, that's 6 people, that's possibly 6 cars. So multiply that. So I don't understand how it's fewer trips.
Well, we know that through a lot of data collection at other sites, that's what the trip generation manual is kind of made up of, lots of trip generation studies at different housing types. I think generally square footages are smaller than detached single family homes. Car ownership's usually a little bit lower. And it can vary by neighborhood. Neighborhood like this might have more car ownership than, say, something in an area, say, closer to downtown. So we recognize all of those things matter. These trip rates are really kind of our averages. So we know there's exceptions to that. But generally, our data shows that this type of housing does generate fewer trips than a detached single family.
Okay, well, the reason I was asking is that you know that we are very constrained by transportation. We don't have bus service really out that way. So I guess I'm feeling a little skeptical, Todd, that there's going to be fewer trips. You're not going to be walking into town, into downtown Oregon City, or walking you'd be walking in your neighborhood, but I can't see people walk. There's not a store nearby. It's not walkable, and there's no transit. So people are going to drive because that's their only option. And they will have, if you've got 2 people in a household and they're going in different directions for work, they're going to have 2 cars. I mean, it's just, I'm just trying to use, some logical data in my head that I'm thinking, okay, if I was on a transit route, yeah, I could see that, but I don't believe there is a transit route out there. So I think, like you said, even if you doubled or tripled the amount of trips to account for that, you say it's still under. But again, it's, there's it's the thing we've been complaining about all the time about the lack of transit, and people do have to drive and you're on the edge. So that's another issue, You're further, maybe they're closer to Canby that way, I don't know.
Yeah, understood. And I don't disagree with you there. It's not in a location that has a lot of walkable destinations, I agree. But as I mentioned, even if we doubled the trip generation, it would still work. But single family trip rates are not twice what an attached single family trip rate is. So your point's well taken.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Hi, so I had a quick question regarding the off-street parking. So you'd mentioned that you were planning on 2 spaces per lot, and I'm just wanting some clarification.
I think you said per unit.
Per unit, I'm sorry, per unit. Are you planning on 2 or are you committing to 2? Because those are I feel like different things.
We're working with the applicant right now on home plans. And I believe right now everything that I've seen is 1-car garage and obviously with the garage setbacks, enough space in a driveway for another vehicle.
Okay, but theoretically that could change.
I suppose, but that's not the plans that
And we're not approving.
that I've looked at.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. It's mostly curiosity.
Yeah, appreciate it, thank you.
So staff, just something real quick, if you can clarify. So what we're looking at is standards for development of a subdivision. And we are not reviewing nor talking about any future development because that's not on the table. So is parking one of the criteria that we have listed in the municipal code for a subdivision?
No, it is not.
Okay, that's what I was remembering. They do have to do a traffic study, as I recall. That's required. So what I think there is, in my mind, some confusion for me is that we have a lot of things that are outside of the criteria for approval of a subdivision. And so the subdivision criteria is very specific and obviously fairly clear and objective. If you do X, Y, and Z with your plat, then the next step is.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that's, we tried to point that out. There, the 2 items that really are not approval criteria are the parking and the school capacity. But the applicant wanted to address those concerns anyway. So, but they're not reviewed as part of a division of land. This application is really purely dividing land up.